Hello, everyone. Welcome to D's Pod in the D Talks podcast, where simply put, D, me talks. Now, I know it's been a minute. I took a little break from uploading because I wanted to record and edit and get everything ready so that I can upload more consistently. In my personal life, I have a lot of things going on. I just graduated in August. I've been working on certifications, working part time, getting involved in my church, and just dabbling in a lot of different things. And so, likewise, I haven't had the most time to record and do everything, but I do want to be consistent. I do want to be disciplined in my uploading. So I decided to take a little break, record everything, and then get everything pumped out on a weekly basis, like how I originally planned on doing. Right? Oops. Kind of spit on myself a little there. I'm excited. What can I say? Anyways, aside from that, I also wanted to do some research and get things going with streaming services. So as of this episode, including all the past ones and episodes in the future, all of them will be available on streaming services, right? And I've decided also to kind of have it be season based. So every season is going to have 10 episodes. I'll upload 10 episodes 10 weeks in a row and then take a little break to upload, plan, edit, do everything that I'm doing right now for the next season. But yeah, so that's a little update since it hasn't been that long since I've uploaded, but it's been long enough. So there you go. And let's see. Episode 5. Today we're talking about the art of letting go. Because we hold on to a lot of things, be it people, situations, scenarios, traumas, whatever it is. We hold on to a lot of things. And all that baggage does and will always weigh you down, right? And the longer you avoid something, the longer you let stuff slide, the longer you hold on to this baggage, the heavier it's going to get, right? You think about when you carry something heavy, eventually you got to put it down. You can't carry something forever. You will, your muscles will fatigue, you'll get tired, whatever it is. Baggage always weighs, right? But anyways, I won't dive too deep right now. Question of the day, because as you guys know, I always start these off with a question. If you had a superpower, what would it be? And what would you do with that power? Right? You can comment below if you'd like, or just ponder. Up to you. Chef, don't judge. Anyways, so why let go? Why let things go? I feel real comfortable holding on to this event, right? This dude did me dirty, or this girl, whoever, somebody did me dirty. It feels good to hold on. It feels good, that fire that I feel whenever I think about it, I like that for whatever reason. Again, chef, don't judge. Why would I let this go? Because things are fleeting, right? The book of Ecclesiastes, definitely my favorite book in the Bible so far, talks about vanity and how things are like a vapor. They're impermanent, they come and go. You think of vapor kind of in the wind, water vapor, or you walk by a sprinkler and the vapors from the sprinkler will sometimes hit your skin. But they come and go, they're very fleeting, they're all over the place. They're not solid, they're not permanent, right? Again, impermanent. Situations are vanity, people are, jobs are, pain is, fill in the blank. Everything in this world is vanity, right? So just as things come and go, so should your hold on them, right? If a situation is temporary, then you want to have a temporary hold of the situation as well. You don't want to have a permanent hold because, again, that muscle fatigue, you're holding on to the kettlebell that's, 20 kilograms. That's fine. You're chilling for like the first 10 seconds. But after that, okay, it's starting to get kind of heavy. You start to lose your grip, right? And so let it go. Things are fleeting. Things are vanity. They come and go. Now, all right. Ooh, I'm glad I put that note there. I'm not saying don't feel things, right? So a lot of times when people talk about letting things go, it's in regards to like relationships or people or situations, right? But I'll stick with relationships just because this has been something, especially for me, that I've had to work on kind of letting go. And I'm not telling you not to feel, because of course you're human, you're going to feel emotions, you know, when you lose anything in that regard, right? Or anything in general, you're going to feel loss. Feel those things, but move forward, right? Because God didn't pull you out of a sewer for you to spend a whole season looking back in that sewer he just pulled you out of, right? So, okay, somebody did me dirty, you know, a breakup happened, you know, I didn't get a job, I got fired, whatever the situation is, fill in the blank, you know, of course, mourn that loss because we're humans, we attach ourselves to things, that's natural, that's fine, but don't spend too much time staring back at that sewer, right? And now when I say sewer, I'm not saying every situation you're pulled out of is necessarily bad, right? But what I am saying is you're not there anymore, right? I only use a sewer analogy because typically, you know, you're pulled out of bad situations, right? But you're always pulled out of whatever situation it was, good, bad, to be put in a better situation. And if you're too busy staring back at that sewer to see where you came from, see everything that's in there, all the components, what's floating in the water, whatever it is, you may miss a blessing. You may miss an opportunity, right? So again, mourn, that's fine, that's expected, but don't take too long staring in that sewer, right? The world's still spinning and you can miss out on your next mission, your next blessing. Reason number 2 for letting go, your mental health. We talked about neural pathways and how they kind of get thicker the more we practice something, right? They get stronger, they get wider. That traffic analogy that I talked about with highways and streets. Same thing happens here when it comes to holding on to stuff, right? If we continue to hold on to hurt, we keep on looking back at that sewer, right, in our minds. What we're doing is we're going down that pain road this time, right? So instead of negativity, we're going down the pain road. And we keep on redriving down the sadness highway. And again, with all that traffic going down that highway, your mind has to compensate and make it wider, make it easier for you to access, easier for you to drive, navigate through, right? And so in doing that, you're making yourself more vulnerable to not only thinking about the situation and kind of grieving longer than you need to, but you're also making yourself vulnerable to seeing pain, seeing issues in other situations, right? And so that's why I talk about all the time, you know, gratitude. Find that silver lining, find the good in things, and keep on focusing your thoughts on seeing the good, because you're widening those positive roads, those positive highways, and you're going down those more often. So naturally, in any given situation, you're going to start seeing the good in things. But if you're grieving, you know, if you're spending too much time looking back at that sewer, you're just going to focus on the funk. You're going to focus on the bad in things. Oh, I lost my job. Oh my gosh. Now I'm unemployed. That's how I look when I'm sad. Right? You're doing a bunch of this. You're not doing a bunch of this, right? You got to go from this to this. Because if you're down here looking at the sewer, your hand's in the way. You can't see the blessing that might be on its way. So you got to be on the lookout, right? Grieve. Yeah, that happened. Okay. I already grieve. I felt my feelings. Okay, what's next? Right? Keep going. Right? I lost my job. Okay, that means a better job's on the way. More opportunities on the way, right? More growth, right? And I have to keep looking this way. I have to keep seeing what's on the horizon, because if I stay focused on this sewer, I'm going to keep on seeing the stink, the funk, the poopy down there, when I could be looking at the beautiful sunset, the beautiful sunrise, whatever's on the horizon for me. But I won't know if it's there because I'm looking this way. I'm not a chameleon. I can't look in multiple directions, right? So focus on the good, focus on the gratitude, focus on where you should be going. Mourn, grieve, feel the feelings, but eventually get over it. Practicing gratitude is a great way to kind of deal with grieving and deal with letting go, because instead of focusing on the bad, you're like, okay, I learned this in that relationship. Yeah, it hurt a lot when it ended, but you know, at the end of it, I learned how to love people better, right? I learned how to communicate. I learned kind of other areas that I need to focus on improving on, because if I improve on these areas, not only will my relationships, my romantic relationships be better, but just my casual relationships, my friendships, my workerships, whatever it is, I'll just be a better human being in general, right? So I'm grateful for everything that was. I'm grateful for being in that sewer, because now, I know where I came from. I know what I need to work on, and I know kind of what to expect. So moving forward, I'm better off, right? And again, when I say sewer, I'm not saying all situations are bad. I'm just using the analogy because I like the analogy, right? Detox podcast, DB talking, I talk, my podcast, my analogies. Anyways, next point here is forgiveness. Forgiveness is a great way of letting things go, right? If someone did you wrong, I'm not saying you have to necessarily forget what happened, because that's not feasible. We're always going to remember things, especially when there's strong emotions tied to these things. But what I am saying is, forgive the act, forgive the person, not the act, forgive the person, right? So we're talking about coming out of situations now, or before we were talking about coming out of situations. Now we're talking about kind of forgiveness and leaving things in the past, right? Because by holding on to that unforgiveness and that discord, it's doing you more harm than it's doing the other person, right? I'm sure we've all heard the analogy of, having a grudge or anything like that is letting somebody live in your head rent free. And that's exactly what it is. And last time I checked, the mortgage rates, rent rates, the market in general is quite expensive. So why would you let a situation stay in your head rent free? Yeah, why would you do that? Like rent now, I'm looking at different places for rent, because again, I'm applying for jobs. I just graduated and my location options are open. I got an offer for some job out in Indianapolis, and that was just the first job. So who's to say I won't get one somewhere else, right? Anyways, I digress. I'm looking at different places. I'm looking at the rent and I'm thinking, dang, man, it's a good thing, I'm getting salary now and I'm not still working at a grocery store, because I would not be able to afford to live out here, right? You can't afford to let people live in your head rent free. Why would you do that? You have limited space, limited spoons. There's an analogy there. I don't remember the analogy, so I won't go into detail. But you have limited storage, right? And so why would you spend storage space letting someone else live there and take up space for free, right? Because there's no such thing as a free lunch. If somebody's there for free, then somebody else is paying. And if you're letting a situation, a circumstance, a person live in your head rent free, you're the one that's paying their rent, right? So keep that in mind. Rent, mortgage rates, they've all gone up. So should yours. So should yours. Don't let the enemy make himself comfortable in your head through not letting go, because the enemy loves to pick and pry at things that we're sensitive of. And if we hold on to something, a situation, a person, whatever it is, he's going to use that to try and get to you. And the more you keep, going down those negative pathways, the easier making it for him to come into your life, come into your headspace, and ruin your current peace. Don't do that. You don't have to forgive them orally. You don't have to reach out to them to forgive them, but give up the situation to God and agree to, excuse me, what did I say? Give up this. Sorry, I was typing this up and I just finished reading the Bible. The Bible's rhetoric is very different from how we speak now. But anyways, give up the situation to God. Agree that you didn't like the situation, but afterwards, forgive the person and let it go. Because again, the longer you hold on, the more rent you're spending for them to stay in your headspace, and the more fatigue you will endure. So letting go will do a lot more better for you than them. So again, this is the whole, you don't have to verbally or audibly reach out to them and be like, hey, you did this to me and I forgive you. Now, if you feel convicted to do that, for sure, do that. If you feel convicted to apologize for a mistake you might have made, definitely do that. Um, but just know there are always consequences for your actions. So they might not forgive you, whatever. I'm going off on a tangent now. But anyways, by, letting things go, it'll do a lot of good for you psychologically, spiritually, and through your physical health as well. Because we might have talked about it a little before, but there's a link between your psychological well-being and your physical health. It's called health psychology. And then that's where positive psychology comes in as well. We talked about kind of gratitude and cancer patients and having longer lives with cancer. And it's all tied together, right? It's all tied together. So if your mind's right, your body will be right. And if your body will be right, then your spirit will be right. And it's that trifecta. Everything's working together. There's checks and balances. You want to make sure that you're okay holistically, basically. And so in letting go, you're definitely assuring that that will happen. Holding on does more pain than letting go. It's not easy, but it is necessary, right? It's not easy to let go of somebody doing you dirty. It's not easy to let go of, maybe a bad breakup. It's not easy to let go of what seemed to be a good job at the time, right? A good paying job, good benefits, whatever it is. But it is necessary because the world will continue to spin regardless of if you let these things go or not. And you don't want to miss out on a blessing. You don't want to miss out on your next call, right? You don't want to miss out on these things reminiscing on what was, right? Grieve, feel your emotions, but after that, focus on what will be. Look forward, move forward, let it go, drop the weight, and get to step in, right? And so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys received this message well. I hope I didn't stutter too much in today's message to where it was unbearable to listen to. But superpowers. If I had a superpower, I'd definitely say it's the power to speak any language. Now, I was working in the bakery and there were a lot of Spanish speaking customers. Dang, my light went out. No. A lot of Spanish speaking customers. And yeah, so likewise, because there were a lot of them, I wanted to learn Spanish so that I can better. Dang, this looks really dramatic. I bet. So I can better communicate with them. And so I learned enough Spanish to, ask them what the name of their order was, tell them where stuff was in the store and stuff like that. But I really enjoy kind of learning, Spanish and learning languages. So I do that. And then I want to do travel photography in my life. So that would make that a lot easier. It would make it a lot more fun as well. Just knowing that I can be popped up anywhere and I could just talk to anyone I'd like to. So definitely if I had a superpower, it would be the ability to speak any language I need. But before this light goes out on me, that's all I have for you guys today. God bless. Thank you for tuning in. And yeah, see you next time.